Hi everyone, it's Veroosh. Welcome to my channel. This is your reading for the October new moon in Libra on October 6th. This energy is a big cup of coffee. No, it's actually like an energy drink. It's your time to be a little selfish, a little independent, and it's not a time for you to depend on others' opinions or influence. This is a very focused, big energy. And those of you who have still been feeling sleepy or drowsy will hopefully snap back to life, back to the awareness of what you want to change in your life. Those things that you became aware of during the summer and the last full moon in Pisces in September. A new chapter begins. It's time to move forward in a bold way, but be mindful of your surroundings as well. Ahead of us is a lot of interesting energy, opportunities for wonderful experiences and growth, but be mindful because a lot's changing all around us. For example, a lot of entities of power are going through massive changes as well and will continue over the next 2 weeks. There's going to be more information that's going to come out about people who wield a lot of power. It's going to problematize their grip on power, and it's going to be embarrassing. But also, behind the scenes, people who hold a lot of power are tinkering with the law to secure for themselves more power. Now, this may be your favorite politicians or corporate leaders, if there are any, or it could be people that you don't like. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, let me just tell you what we're going to talk about today. So first, we're going to go over the astrology, and then I'm going to do a tarot card reading for the collective. Members, you get an extended linked in the comments. And then I'm going to do the activated chart positions at the end. My website's still down, so if you want to buy a reading with me, you have to do it through the link I provide in the comments and pin. I'll let you guys know when I'm doing the New Year readings. If you want more information on today's astrology, I did a before the new moon video a few days ago, and I'll link it in the corner in the cards and in the description. In there, I told you about the general energy in October. So today's comments are just about the new moon. The new moon is happening on October 6th, first thing in the morning on the Pacific West Coast, and then later on in the day around the world. This is the first new moon of 2021 autumn, and it really opens up energy for the rest of the year. As I said in the intro, this is a big energy, like an energy drink. The reason for this is that the sun, moon, Mars, and the earth are in alignment. This can be called a stellium, a cazimi, which means in the eye of the sun, or a syzygy. All three terms refer to the fact that these 4 different entities are in the same position astrologically, which is 13 degrees of Libra. The fact that they're together are causing big energy all around us at this time. People are feeling energetic, independent, and strong, light and bright. So embrace this energy, feel good about yourself, This energy really boosts self-confidence and boasts your independence. Because of this, make sure to really have your own back at this time. At a time of high independence, everybody is reacting in their own way, and not everybody is good at being mindful or compassionate when they are independent. So you have to be mindful and compassionate for yourself. Now let's take a look at the planets that rule this new moon. Venus is the ruler of Libra, and at the time of the new moon, she is at the end of the 28th degree of Scorpio. This is called a semi-square angle to the new moon, which irritates that independence. It can make people feel standoffish, especially since Venus is also at a semi-square to Mars that is in a syzygy with the new moon, sun, and moon, and in something called an exchange of signs with Venus. An exchange of signs is something similar to a mutual reception. A mutual reception is when planets are in each other's ruling sign. So Mars is in Libra, which is ruled by Venus, and Venus is in Scorpio, that is traditionally ruled by Mars. However, because both are debilitated in the signs they're in, so Mars is debilitated in Libra, Venus is debilitated in Scorpio, this mutual exchange becomes an exchange of signs and is not considered as positive as it would be if it was a mutual reception. To add to this, it's a semi-square, which is an irritable energy. What that all means is be independent and don't worry about how that's going to jive with other people. Your strength may irritate other people and trigger them at this time, but it's not up to you to apologize for positivity that you're creating. And especially in personal relationships, don't apologize for being yourself. Don't try to have serious conversations with people about the state of your relationship and feelings and things like that, because it's very likely that there will be a power struggle at this time. So it's best to leave that and put that off for another time. The energy for Venus will be better right after the new moon, when she moves into the 29th degree, and there will be an emotional catharsis for any relationship problems that you may be experiencing at this time. This means that there will be a heart healing. But with the new moon, don't try to solve your relationship problems, be they platonic or romantic. Just leave them be and they will work out. But with Mars in the same position as the sun and the moon and Earth, the syzygy, take that energy to be assertive, be confident, and don't allow your relationships to intimidate that or overshadow that. Okay, so we're covering decans again. And in this case, the new moon is in the second decan or decan, it should be decan, of Libra, as it's between 10 and 20 degrees. So the second third. And that area is ruled by the planet Saturn in traditional astrology. So Saturn is at a trine to this new moon, which is positive, and it's about to turn direct on October 10th, after several months of retrograde. This is a really good time to push forward on things that you have to do. So in other words, do your stuff and don't worry about what's going on with the guy next door. Don't worry about your boyfriend. Don't worry about your brother. Don't worry about your mom. Everything's going to be fine. Just focus on yourself. You'll do great. The second ruler of the second decan is Uranus, and that's in the modern astrology canon or whatever. Uranus is also retrograde, but it will not turn direct until January. Uranus is at a minor stress angle to the new moon, and it is debilitated because it's in Taurus. That means it's weaker. However, it's soon going to form a positive angle to Venus in the next few days. And so, with this new moon, it might be a good idea to start new things as usual, but kind of not look over your shoulder. Don't worry about the other guy. Start your new things. Be bold, be brave, and know that your relationship stuff that you've triggered by being independent and awesome will most likely resolve in the upcoming days as your friends and family and lovers process your awesomeness. The other big thing that's happening on the 6th is that Pluto's turning station. This means that optically it will stop going retrograde on this day. Stand still. This is a huge shift in terms of power. And even though this is not directly interacting with the new moon, it is happening on the same day. This will have a big influence on power structures around us. We've seen the Pandora Papers come out with all this exclusive information about people in power, wheeling and dealing. I think one prime minister was even caught hiding taxes in offshore accounts after vowing to address tax evasion as his electoral platform. That's ironic. It was the Czechia prime minister or president. I expect more of that. Maybe not specifically hacking, but there'll be more information coming out. Maybe not necessarily to do with Pandora. That is that square with Mercury and Mercury's trine to Jupiter. But also there will be hidden things. Governments and institutions of power will also be signing things or making secret deals that we won't find out until much, much later. On a personal level, you may find out that people around you are doing similar things. So you may find out things about people you're dealing with on a personal level, especially where there's big power imbalances involved, like at work or school. But likewise, there may be hidden dealings going on that people in power may be planning that may be hard for you to find out or see. Still, keep an eye out, and if you really pay attention, I'm sure you'll see it or hear about it. Just pay attention. Okay, so let's get into the tarot. This is your collective reading for the new moon. Remember, not all messages are meant to resonate for you. They're just messages that are coming up. So take what resonates and leave what doesn't. I did do a sign by sign, all sign reading for you for the time leading up to the new moon and a bit past. You can find that at the end of the video and linked in the comments down below. Okay, so our overall card is the Star, which is the card of Aquarius. A lot's going on in Aquarius as Saturn and Jupiter are retrograde in the sign. But overall, the Star represents destiny, passion, love, a special direction, something fated is going to happen. This first card usually signifies a very important message for the new moon. So this means that pay attention, something is happening. Of course, as you've heard in the astrology, we have a syzygy or a cazimi or a stellium of 4 different bodies, and that is the sun, the moon, Mars, and the earth, which is a very special alignment. This brings a lot of force to this new moon. Very similar to an eclipse, but a little bit different in the sense that only there is no eclipse. It's just a new moon. Okay, so pay attention for something new to come through, important information to come to pass, important transformations. I told you the wind energy is very strong for this time of year. Then we have the Page of Wands, Sag, Leo, or Aries, secondary transits in Earth, Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn. Somebody has an important message for you. They are possibly a fire sign, somebody who may be younger than you or have a very special, young sort of energy about them. This person is characterized by a very bright disposition. So expect someone to contact you with bright information, or just, it doesn't have to be a heavy sit down conversation. This could be a very lighthearted comment that has an important message for you. Then we have the 5 of Wands. And so with this card, I feel as though at this time, if you're dealing with women, it might be a difficult time to find a proper communication between you and others. This could be affected by Mercury squaring Pluto. However, if you do feel like you need to communicate something, these kinds of energies of upheaval, transformation, push and shove energy can sometimes push things along. So don't let this message discourage you from not trying something new, not pushing ahead. Not if you really feel you have to say something, this might be your opportunity. Okay, then we have the 8 of Pentacles. Very strong energy, relationships improving with men, especially if you've been working really hard on your relationship with a man. That relationship is going to improve. That relationship is going to move forward. There's going to be a lot of effort that both people are putting in. A man could have his back turned at this time, focused on work or other things. Don't take it to heart. They're just focusing on their work and the things that are important for them. Then we have the 5 of Cups here. It really feels as though with this Libra new moon, it's a lot of you pushing ahead for yourself. And what you might find is that some of the people around you may be a bit difficult at this time. I wouldn't spend too much time trying to convince others and tell others what, your plans. Everybody's sort of focused on the I in a very strong way at this time. So focus on your I. Don't get discouraged by your relationships with others not mirroring to you exactly what you want. This is about self-determinism, and the steps that you're going to take, the star is telling me that they're very important steps. They're very special steps that are going to take you in a particular direction. So they're not supposed to make perfect sense. Now, I just want to mention that there isn't extended for all members. There's 2 groups of members. There's the Verooshians and the All-Stars. And so the All-Stars is the ones who see all the videos, but the Verooshians get 1 video a month. So today's video is the one that you guys get to see. Okay, so next line of information. And remember, not every message is for every person. Just listen regarding what is important. So with regard to family, a very careful approach is really advised at this time. I feel like somebody is not listening or has had a difficult time listening with regard to what you want to say to them, the information you want to tell them, and so forth. Keep at it, but in a very gentle way. Don't tell them everything or don't push them to communication. Things are improving. I think that this is a gentle reminder to go slow, and whatever you want to achieve with your family, whatever you want to figure out with them and push forward, is going to be done over a longer period of time. So be patient and understanding. Allow them time to adjust and understand. Things will improve in those situations. Excuse me. Okay, so next we have another card. We have the Knight of Pentacles, which is a Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn energy. Maybe some air in there as well, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. This just reminds me of the previous statement, which means that at this time you're meant to go forward towards a goal or towards something that is important to you. You're not supposed to pay attention to the surroundings so much. Self-determinism is strong. Self-starters will do well. It's a very cardinal energy, which means that the signs that start the seasons, the cardinal signs, are the ones that carry the most amount of planets and energy at this time. So it's really a time to start something, but mindfully, because moving forward there will be other energies that come up throughout October and into November that will confound what we've begun. So move boldly, but also with eyes open. Okay. The Knight of Pentacles can also mean that if someone is persisting towards you at this time, they will continue to persist. And this is not meant to be with regard to something that's negative or worrisome. This is meant to reference something like somebody likes you, and so they're pushing forward with, love or messages of love or other types of actions towards you of a loving nature. And so if you're wondering whether this person will persist in their advancement or signaling of positive affect towards you, positive emotions, they definitely will continue at this time. So you might see somebody come up for you, especially with Mercury retrograde. If something's not finished or if a conversation's not finished, you might be getting a knock on the door from a special person. Okay, Knight of Pentacles, which is Venus in Virgo. Very nice energy here. It's a very independent, self-sufficient, Miss Prada, right? I'm independent, I'm self-sufficient. I always think of that. But anyway, so just so if you're new and you don't know, I do these readings before I do the full astrology breakdown. I like to do it just for an intuitive take. But I can already see, I've already looked at the astrology, but I haven't done a deep dive. And what I can already see is that there's very strong messages of being independent. So if you're feeling anxious at this time, or if you really want to depend on someone or reach out for help and support, you might feel let down by the type of support they're able to give at this time. So you may want to just turn around and focus on yourself. And no matter how it goes, just put some effort towards the things you want to create, the things you want to do. You might be happily fulfilled by what you see. And then we have Queen of Pentacles, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, secondary energy in water, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. This is a message for people who are waiting for someone else. If you're waiting for someone else's response, if you have stated your personal boundaries and are waiting for a reaction to that, if you've asked someone to stop doing something or begin doing something, this is a message for you. Through this time, you're still waiting. So things are happening in the background. They're not necessarily coming forth front and center. So don't get discouraged. And all of you Virgo, Tauruses, Capricorns out there, don't get discouraged if what you want to transpire isn't happening yet. It will happen for you soon. Just maybe with this new moon, some other things need to happen on the sidelines before the thing that you have been waiting for happens. Okay, then we have the Two of Wands, which is here, excuse me. And so a difference of perspective really opening your eyes to new opportunities, new plateaus, going over old territory while revisiting new ideas. So, you know, going back, it's like the going back to the hometown. Go back to your hometown, see it with fresh eyes. What else do you see there? You don't necessarily have to go to your hometown, but this is an energy of revisiting something and taking a second look at it, and maybe finding in it something new. That new thing will bring you to enlightenment, it'll bring you to light, it'll bring you to growth. Okay, let's see the next line as well. Well, these are really good cards. I really like the energy. My Mars is in Libra, and so this energy does really well for me, but I feel like, yeah, it's a lot of self-starting, understated, but still assertive and positive, in a quiet way, you know, without too much dealing with outside factors. Just stating your truth, asserting your truth, doing what you need to do without too much intersectionality, without letting too many other factors in. Okay, so we have the Ace of Pentacles here. There's going to be a financial matter for some of you that comes into being a factor through this new moon that is going to set something right. So if you're waiting for a matter to be set to justice of a financial nature, specifically if someone owes you money, or if there needs to be a resolution of a financial matter between yourself and someone else, you might see that actually grow towards a good end with this new moon. Okay, what else do we have? We have the Queen of Cups, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, secondary transits in water, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. A continuation of a relationship with someone who's very near and dear to your heart. Somebody's providing you a lot of support, a lot of care, and a lot of nurture. If you are involved in a friendship with someone, now this could, it feels most likely like a woman with a woman, sorry guys, but it could be a man with a woman or a man with a man, but very effeminate natures, okay? If you're in a friendship, platonic, this is just friendship, and you're involved in a friendship that involves a really deep sharing of the heart, if you have been sharing profound emotions and you are anxious about this person leaving your life, because, you know, you're worried because it's like a special connection, that this friend will go, something will go wrong or something like that, that relationship is persisting, even though you feel worried about it. So that's a little confirmation for those of you who are in that situation. Then we have the Three of Wands. Okay, this is a nice card here. The end of a waiting period is over. This is a huge message that I'm picking up, is don't wait for outside validation for what you want to begin. If you really need that outside validation to get started on what you need to get started, by all means do that. But that will take away from your ultimate success because it will slow you down. So the faster that you can push forward and do the things that you set out to do, or the thing that's in your head, the better it will be. So push forward, move boldly towards the future, and you will feel much better. There's also a big reconciliation energy here going on, which by that I mean reconciliation of ideas that have pushed you down or things that you feel suppressed by. So if you feel overwhelmed by things in your life that have been pushing you down and making you inactive or slowing you down towards your goals and your ambitions, let's say self-confidence or anxiety or some kind of nervousness, or outside factors such as feeling intimidated by your environment or not being in alignment with your environment, and that causing you to slow down your beginning of something, then this energy with this new moon will help you to push past that. Now you have to have agency in that. You can't just, you know, expect the world to cater to you and everything's going to be fine. But if you put enough effort, if you stand behind your goals, if you stand behind yourself, there's a real nice path towards success. Okay, then we have the Tower here. This is an intense card in this position. Okay, so there is a situation that is unraveling for some people. There's a relationship that's unraveling. There's conversations that are unraveling. And you need to take time in order to see that happen. There's a strong message here of not feeding into it. So if you feel like you're in a relationship that's slowly distancing, two people are distancing from each other, this could be a platonic relationship, a love relationship, it doesn't matter. But the characteristic of this relationship is that there's a slow growing distance, and this is a very close relationship. I can tell that it's a very close relationship between two people. It really, you have to have a lot of patience with this process. Things are happening as they may, and there's a strong message here of allowing things to happen as they must happen. You cannot fix it. You cannot fix it. You can't do anything to stop the fallout or the consequence of the circumstances as they stand. It does not mean that it's doom and gloom at the end of the day. You might be surprised that for some of you this will reconcile, but this situation needs breathing room. And if I get the strong message that if you do go and try to fix it or resolve it or push it, then it's going to go in a bad direction. So have a lot of patience and accept the fact that there's a possibility that this will unravel and end, but then also be hopeful that for some of you, this relationship will see it through and there will be a greater understanding. I feel like some of it hinges upon someone understanding something, and you can't make them understand this thing. I think you've probably presented your side or your case, and so it's up to them to understand, and if they can't understand, then that has to happen that way. Okay, so I'm sorry if it's a message that's difficult for someone to hear, but it's real tolerance and an acceptance of things as they stand. Okay, then we have the Five of Pentacles. Do not fall into anxious mode. There's this strong energy here of independence and strength and all those things. Don't fall into anxiety. You know, who's going to be there with me through those circumstances? Who's going to have my back? How are things going to work out? No, don't fall for that. So that anxiety kind of way of thinking at this time is going to spiral you into a very negative mental state. So what you want to do is stay very optimistic and stay hopeful and lead with, belief, or just reframe it to the effect that you don't know what's going to happen, but don't start catastrophizing and believing, telling yourself, I can't make it because social situations are particularly in a shamble, or people are not supporting you enough, or you're alone in a situation. Don't push yourself down, even if that's a fact. Don't push yourself down further. Elevate yourself and stay away from that topic. Tell yourself, self-regulate. Tell yourself that, whatever the situation is, it's not going to help your situation to think about it at this time. You can go back to it at a later point in time, but at this time, stay away from that anxious banter. Okay, that was intense. So be strong within yourself, regardless of what the situation. That doesn't mean that all of you are experiencing this. This is definitely coming through for a group of people. Oh, just off the top of my head, because of the transits, Aries, susceptible to this at this time because Chiron is in Aries. Who else? What other sign? Yeah, Aries comes through sun, moon, and rising, right? Pisces can feel this way at this time. Sagittarius, of course, as well. That doesn't mean that it's a tough transit or it's a bad transit, but it's one that you may want to be just aware that your independence is necessary, and all three of your signs are actually very dependent on other people. You really jive on being in connection with others, right? But and that becomes a challenge when others are not available. So be a Libra, be independent. Libras are so social, but they're social because they're so independent. Every Libra I know knows how to be alone, knows how to stand out, and that's what brings people to them. It's not the fact that they are a pushover or anything like that. So with this energy of the new moon, there's a lot of energy in Libra. You need to draw on that energy. Aries, that's your polar opposite sign, right? So and so therefore they have skills and qualities that you admire, that you want to take on. Okay, yeah, that's so funny, right? Because we always think of, I never thought of it this way, but we think of Aries as Miss Independent and strong, and to the effect that they don't need anyone, but it's actually quite the inverse. Libra, that's usually surrounded by people, is the really one that could stand alone and not be affected, while Aries is much more dependent on whoever is around them. Aries are very actually concerned with how people around them feel, and so how they feel about things, those kinds of things. It's a little like known secret. It's different, right? It's the opposite of what you would expect. So no matter what your sign is, if you're in this circumstance and you feel alone, don't do the death spiral by thinking and focusing on that. Life changes. We all have moments of being surrounded by tons of people. We have moments of being completely alone, and it's okay. And it's what you do with the moments that make you feel uncomfortable, how you constructively deal with them, that helps you to push forward in a good way. And then you can look back on it and say, I was really alone, but I really got a lot of work done. Or I was alone, but I had this wonderful experience by myself. Whatever it is, draw those conclusions, reframe it, rethink it. Okay, King of Wands. If you're in a relationship around this type of person, this is specifically, it may be a Sagittarius, Leo, or Aries, not necessarily, but if you're around specifically a man, King of Wands energy, no matter what your sign is, this relationship may be going through a transformation. Your strength may be inversely affecting the relationship. And if you, so by that, what I mean is that person may be negatively reacting to your success. So you push forward with success, and that brings them anxiety or worry, or it changes things between you and them. It is what it is. Take your changes slowly at this time. There's a lot of energy with the sun and the moon in Mars and the earth. They're all aligned in a straight line together. So this means that if we push too far ahead, if we push too hard, too fast, we can spin out, right? So we don't want to spin out at this time. We have the Hermit energy next. Okay, so here, Virgo, fated events happening around Virgos, for Virgos, and those. Also, those of you who are dealing with being very alone, that is going to lead to some personal change, a change of you. So if you are in that category of being alone, it's all connected to something, so it leads to something. The next chapter is going to be something that is going to bring a lot of light to your life. You're going to be happy for this in retrospect. You're going to be happy it happened this way. And then we have the World card here. There's something in the world that we're going to find out. There was a big release of some personal information. I don't know if that was a hacking group, the Pandora leak, but I see there's more of that sort of thing coming. There's going to be disclosures. There's information that we're going to going to find out. There's more information that's coming. Some of it is there's also secret things being instantiated. Sorry. There's some things being instantiated. There's something that's being signed in secret or hidden. Yes. But there's also going to be like karmic pushback to that, very similar to the Pandora Papers. Like there's going to be shakeups and exposure of people with great power. Like I'm thinking of Pluto here, so very, very powerful people that are going to be adjusted by factors outside of themselves. It's almost like I have the vision of climbing a mountain peak, and someone's climbing the mountain peak, and the higher you get, the more vertical the side of the mountain is, right? So more chance for failure, more chance to fall, harder to hold on. And so those people at the top of the peak, right, of this wealth, power, industry, control, it's getting shaky up there. I'm just saying. And so that's going to trickle down into our everyday lives. There's going to be exposure of information, and also secret pacts by people who hold power. That is the square between Pluto and Mercury, and the trine to Jupiter. Because Mercury trine Jupiter is positive for, for us in our everyday lives, but it's also positive for institutions, right? So they grow as well. So I really feel like there's some sneaky deaky, let's sign some kind of law into action, and then, sort of hide it or gaslight it in some way. And I'm not saying which government. I think it's one of the great powers, though. There's lots of sneaky stuff going on through this time. I think a lot of people know that their window of opportunity is closing in government and in corporations for this push that's happened now alongside the pandemonium. And so now that it's happened, there's going to be they're rushing to get one in, that's the energy there. Okay, then we have the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, this is really good. So again, whatever's going on in your life, there's a very it feels like a very, how sometimes circles, they loop really fast, whatever's low is going to have a really fast pushback to a positive energy. I don't know what I'm thinking about. Oops. But something moves very quickly like this, almost springs back and pushes forward towards a good direction. Allow someone to understand something on their own. If you push to help them understand, it's going to unravel, it's going to backfire. Okay, then Three of Swords here. Interesting. Okay, so you're not the only one feeling lonely. If you're feeling lonely baloney, you're not the only one. This card moved, which is the card of Aquarius. So if you're dealing with an Aquarius, maybe that is another person who's feeling lonely. This is Saturn in Libra, and so so you have this kind of, there's a strong message here of you're not the only one who's feeling lonely. You're not the only. So this is especially those of you who have a significant other or who have a friend or someone else, and you're feeling lonely and you feel like you're the only one. That other person or that other energy is feeling it too. And then on the bottom is the Five of Swords. So there's been a push and pull between you and other people. I don't feel like it's the new moon. I feel like it's 5-5-5, a fight. 3 5s, a fight. Always remember that if you're reading your own tarot cards. 3 5s is a fight. I think the fight's happened, or whatever disagreement has happened. Oh, we have 4 5s actually. That's better. But I really felt the 3 5s. There was a disagreement between people. And now there's a fallout. For some of you, this is really long standing, so it's not something new. And for some of you, this has just happened and you're feeling awful and terrible and all this stuff. know that the other person is feeling the same, and that there will be a way in which things work out in the end. And it'll be motivated by a recognition of need of each other in each other's lives, which will motivate people to change and amend and accept certain things. But don't be reliant on that for the new moon. Step out on your own, and then once it regenerates, you can be happy that you did. Okay, so members, I'm going to clarify this. Thanks for watching. I think I'm doing the activated chart position, so that's coming up next. So this is your activated chart positions or activated points. Let me just go over the basics if you haven't seen this before. This is the list of points that may coincide with your birthday or other significant event. If I mention a date that is meaningful to you, that means that that current transit is in some way activating that chart's position. If your dates are not mentioned, that just means that your transits are not activated by this current astrological transit. This is not an exhaustive list, and beyond this list, you will want to consider your personal planets when assessing if an aspect is aligned to you. At the end of today's section, I've added a special addendum, which is going to tell you how the elemental dignities and the modalities fit into this new moon. This means that each one of you will get a message for your signs. But the personal transits are Mars, Venus, Mercury, Moon, and the Sun. If you have special dates alongside the dates I am giving, same year but different month or season, it's likely that you will still gain the effects I'm describing, but just not as strong. I introduced using seasons as a way to convey the dates to you. This is because many transits are not bound to specific days, weeks, or months, and they will remain relevant to you for several months or even a year. The seasons I use are for the Northern Hemisphere, so if you're in the South, please convert them to your seasons, and happy summer. This means that spring becomes autumn and so forth. For everyone watching, look back at all the dates I mentioned to see if you have significant events that happened for you during those transits. Those dates may be very important to you now. Okay, here we go. Okay, so if you were born in 1945 in the autumn, 1957 in September, 1969 in the autumn, 1981 in the autumn, 1992 or 93 in the winter, from December to January there, 2004 in the winter, 2005 in the summer, 2017 in the summer, or 2016 in the autumn. It's very likely that something's going to grow in your life at this time. It's a time of expansion. A wonderful breakthrough may happen, or a miracle may happen. So put yourself out there and interact with the world as much as possible. If this is concerning an event in your life, a very positive turn of events may happen alongside this new moon for you. Good luck. If you were born in the summer of 1940, the spring of 1959, the autumn of 1977, the summer of 1996, January through February of 2015, a significant breakthrough to do with your destiny may happen at this time. It may not be apparent right away, but something big is happening in your life. And in fact, it might have already started in the summertime. Look out for special information from others, good news, or some other relevant insight that will tell you that things are changing. Again, you should not hold back at this time. If you were born in 1945 in the spring, January 1954, 1992 in the autumn, 1971 in the autumn, 1980 in the summer, 1989 in the summer, 1998 in the spring, 2007 in February, or 2015 in December, something that's been pushing on you throughout your life is going to be alleviated or greatly improved. If this is concerning an event, and especially if you've been kept in the dark or information has been kept from you, this new moon is going to provide you with insight about the information that you have been kept from. No matter what your situation is alongside these dates, this is a huge new moon of emancipation for you. This means that whatever's been holding you back is going to be greatly reduced or completely removed at this time. You get your life back. Okay, next group. If you were born in 1953 in the spring, 1971 to 72 in December to January, 1990 in the summer, 2009 in the spring, something may be going your way. Now there's a caveat to this. Throughout this year, you may have had some difficult times. You may have felt dwarfed or held back or limited in some way. This transit is turning things your way. And some of the tedious obstacles you've had to deal with start being rewarding back. So the positive outcomes of whatever's been difficult or tedious to bear may be coming your way. Or at least a break from the intensity or a solution to some of the problems. If you were born in the spring of 2000, or if an event happened for you at that time, you may be getting a big dose of reality. Now that sounds really ominous, but it actually could be in your favor. For example, if something is keeping information from you or you're missing pieces of the puzzle to a life situation, the truth may come through very clear at this time. So good luck. If you were born in 1956 in the autumn, 2006 in the summer, or in December of 2006, you may still be very much struggling at this time. You may feel pushed down or limited. However, some of the things that are happening around you are giving you powerful insights on what you can use to build a better life. So let's say you love singing, but your roommate hates singing and tells you to constantly quiet it down. That situation is bothersome to you, but what it actually tells you is that you need to sing and you need to find a space in which you will be welcome to sing, and that will feel less problematic. So this transit doesn't really solve all your problems, but it actually gives you insight on what you want and what you need. And it points out what is disharmonious around you or within you at this time, so that you can make those changes. Okay, if you were born in 1947 in the autumn, 1959 in the spring, 1959 in the autumn, 1971 in January, the summer of 1982 or December of 1982, December of 1994, 2006 November, or 2018 November, you may be very lucky in love at this time. But the love is probably going to step on other people's toes. This means that your social environment, work environment, or other people you know may not be totally accepting of your love affair. Or you may be sort of going against the grain of what your society or community would want. But it probably is very romantic. If it's not love, then it's something to do with the heart. You may be very encouraged at this time to go do something that you have a lot of passion and love for that may not be accepted by others. No matter what you choose, know that the consequences will come in, positive and negative, in January of 2022. So choose wisely. Good luck. If you were born in the spring of 1946, February of 1955, December of 1963, January of 1964, November of 1972, September of 1981, July of 1990, May of 1999, March of 2008, or January to February of 2018, there may be a big vindication for something that happened in your life with regard to other people. If you were slighted or hurt, or if your friends turned their backs on you, if there was a lot of hurt feelings, or if there was like lies being told about you, at this time, someone may have your back. Someone may defend you, defend your honor, and in combination with you defending yourself. You may have an opportunity to speak for yourself, stand up for yourself. Whatever it is, it's you addressing a situation with others in which there's probably a lot of hurt feelings. A situation that you may have not had the opportunity to address before. There's a sense of vindication with this transit. And even though it might be uncomfortable to deal with at this time, the ultimate outcome is very positive. Okay, so if you were born between 1969 to 1970, that's both of the years, the whole year, you may be involved in love that's very confusing at this time. I really advise against any type of love affair that you normally would describe as morally problematic, such things as affairs, extramarital affairs, cheating, all that kind of jazz. So be careful. If that's happening around you, things will get very confusing and emotional right now. It may actually push secret love affairs out of shadows to the surface. So exposed. So if someone's cheating on you, you might find out at this time. Or if someone is being devious, dishonest with matters of the heart in general. So be careful with love. Don't do anything stupid. And don't let other people fool you. This transit will only last a couple weeks. Okay, so if you were born in 1940 in the summer, 1941 in the spring, 1999 in the summer or fall, or 2000 in the spring, your world may be turned upside down at this time in the best possible way. You might be challenged to go against the grain of something that you are very used to doing in a systematic way. So if you have a particular schedule every day, for example, suddenly there may be a reason why you have to change it up. And even though you may feel some degree of resistance towards this at first, this really does build opportunities in new directions. So try to be open-minded, even though it's a difficult place in your chart to be open-minded. Okay, so if you were born in 1948 in the spring, 1966 in December to January of 1967, 1985 in the summer, 2004 in the spring, your world is getting a big transformation also, although this is a much more open area of your chart where you're much more willing to be open-minded. A big event may come up that changes your world, that gives you new opportunities and new directions. With this transit, don't expect everything to change overnight, but be very open at this time to recognize the patterns and these new directions. Okay, If you were born from July 1979 to February of 1981, be very, very careful with your health at this time. Now, you guys know I don't do medical astrology. I try to stay away from astrology that has to do with other professions like doctors and lawyers and economists. I feel they're better equipped to answer your questions than I can. And at the end of the day, always follow your doctor's guidance first and foremost. But if you're born through that 2-year period at this time, you want to watch your health very, very carefully. This means don't take risks. And if you do unhealthy things like smoke or drink alcohol, try to eliminate or at least minimize those things in your life at this time. That includes eating bad foods or having unhealthy lifestyle habits, period. I use voice to text, so I'm going to keep that in so you guys can hear me dictate to my phone. Sorry. Period. Okay, so let's go do activated dignities. So these are elemental dignities for your sun, moon, and rising. This gives you an overview for your inner planets, your main transits, if they fall into a particular elemental dignity, earth, air, fire, water. I'll tell you what to expect right now. So if you have lots of transits in earth, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, you may continue to feel a big struggle against things that are bigger than you. Those earth transits are really under a lot of pressure from this new moon. That shows up as stress from bigger groups and communities or other people that require things from you that you don't really want to do. You know, like people being pushy or groups being pushy or something like that. This is a long transit and it'll last for the next few years, but since this is the first time I'm talking about it, it's just contextualized for the new moon. So in general, earth signs are in this energy. Okay, air. Air, it's windy out there. If you've missed my last video, go watch it. It's linked in the cards. And I explain what windy means. Suffice it to say, you have a crap ton of energy in your chart at this time. Provided you're okay with change, transformation, new opportunities, things shifting all the time, this is a time when you're going to experience a lot of change, a lot of opportunity, a lot of open doors, which means like opportunities and ways to change your life. If you have fire transits, it's purging time. And this is going to last until the end of the year. But with this full moon in particular, you might be feeling as though everybody's moving ahead while you're pulling back. Don't get distracted by that. Whatever you address right now will push you ahead in the future. Water signs. It might be a very confusing time in love for you at this time. You might be getting frustrated with your love partners in general, as if they're not telling you the truth, or there's miscommunication problems and you can't get the truth out of them. It might be so frustrating for some of you that you may choose solitude, or you would even prefer to be alone, depending on your situation. If you're single, you're probably not rearing to get out there and date at this time, as people and their habits and emotions may be discouraging or not appealing. Okay, so let's talk about modalities. That's cardinal, beginning of a season, fixed, middle of a season, mutable, closing of a season signs. Cardinal, Libra, Capricorn, Cancer, and Aries. If you have transits in these placements, You may be very motivated to act at this time, especially if you feel like you're working against a legacy or a history that you regret. So let's say you feel like life's been unfair to you, or like something really unfair happened that held you back. You might be very motivated to move ahead now, even if that situation is already dead and done. It's really true that if you put some effort behind your intentions at this time, you may see a very positive outcome. So you might give it a try. Now, if you're a mutable sign, Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, you're going through major patterns associated with karma in your life, dharma and karma. This means big, thematic, or theme-oriented events that tie into many things in your life. Probably things to do with sisters, mothers, wives. Also, you're dealing with a fair bit of uncertainty about things. This is a long transit, so you need to learn how to cope with the uncertainty rather than trying to find a solution right now. Solutions will come out in the end, but your time is better used to try to find a way to deal with it for now. Overall, this is a very healing transit. So whatever's going on in your relationships with women, particularly family relationships with women, is fundamentally getting an overhaul right now. So good luck. All I'm thinking of is Oedipus complex. I'm just kidding, guys. But something like that. Awkward and uncomfortable. It could be many things, to be honest. And actually, relationships with sisters and cousins, people who are of your age, is more likely than mother figures. So, although mothers are in there too. Okay, last group. My fixed signs, mid-season people. Scorpios, Aquarians, Leos, Tauruses. Love may take an unusual turn for you at this time. You may see great opportunities with love. And love may require that you change something about your life forever. This includes moving or going somewhere far or making a sacrifice of some kind. Again, this isn't just with the new moon. This is a bigger transit or set of transits. So don't rush. Follow your heart. You'll do fine. Okay, thanks guys for watching. Let me know how you like this activated points. I kind of like this ending elemental dignities, modalities, whatever. So just tell me in the comments how you like this way of doing it. Okay? Thank you. Bye. Happy new moon.